Imagine waking up in absolute darkness. You are tied motionlessly to a cold surface with no way to escape. You feel a heavy metal cage being placed on your stomach. Inside it, something is scratching. This is not a nightmare. Welcome to the dark world of the worst punishments in human history. Today, we look at 15 terrifying methods humans created to destroy their own kind. Number 1. Rat torture. A cage full of hungry rats was placed on the victim's stomach. The torturers would pour hot coals on top of the cage. To escape the heat, the rats had no choice but to tear through the victim's stomach. Number 2. The Brazen Bull. In ancient Greece, the victim was thrown inside a metal bowl and a fire was lit underneath it. The system of pipes inside the bull turned the agonizing screams of the human into the roar of an angry bull, all to entertain the king. Talk about a tough crowd. Scaphism, the rack, and bamboo torture. Number 3. Scaphism. In ancient Persia, the victim was tied between two boats and force-fed milk and honey. They were left in a swamp so that insects and worms would eat their flesh alive over many days. Number 4. The rack. The victim's hands and feet were tied to rollers. By turning a lever, the joints were dislocated one by one until the bones and muscles were torn apart. Hey, look on the bright side. If it were you, you'd probably gain about 5 centimeters in height. Number 5. Bamboo torture. In Asia, the victim was tied tightly horizontally just above sharp bamboo shoots. The bamboo would grow several centimeters a day, slowly piercing through the living human body over several days. Number 6. Lingchi, or death by 1,000 cuts. In ancient China, the executioner would carefully and slowly slice small pieces of flesh from the living victim's body to inflict the maximum possible pain. Number 7. The blood eagle. The terrifying and legendary punishment of the Vikings. They would break the ribs from the back and pull the lungs out like the wings of an eagle, while the person was still breathing. Extreme anatomy lesson, courtesy of the Vikings. Number 8. Impalement. The favorite method of Vlad Dracula. A long wooden spear was driven through the lower body in a way that avoided vital organs, leaving the victim to suffer on the spear for days. Number 9. The Iron Maiden. A human-shaped enclosure filled with long spikes inside. As the door closed, the spikes pierced the eyes and chest, but not deep enough for the person to die quickly. Think of it as a very aggressive, very permanent hug. The breaking wheel and keelhauling. Number 10. The breaking wheel. One of the most brutal methods of the Middle Ages. The victim's bones were shattered with a hammer, and then their body was woven around a large wheel, exposed to scavenging birds. Number 11. Keelhauling. The dreaded punishment of pirates. The victim was tied to a rope, thrown into the water, and dragged rapidly underneath the ship's hull, which was covered in razor-sharp barnacles. Basically, the worst exfoliating scrub in maritime history. Sawing and flaying. Number 12. Sawing. The victim was hung upside down by their ankles so blood would rush to their head, keeping them fully conscious. Then, they were sawed in half right down the middle with a large 2-man saw. Number 13. Flaying Alive. Using delicate knives, torturers would slowly peel away the entire skin of the body in one piece without killing the person quickly, leaving them to die of infection and the cold. The Pear of Anguish and white torture. Number 14. The Pear of Anguish. A metal device inserted into the body that, by turning a screw, expanded and mutilated the organs from the inside. Number 15. But the most terrifying punishment involves no bloodshed at all. White torture. Confinement in a completely white room, wearing white clothes, eating white food, and in absolute silence. The human mind, without any external stimuli, destroys itself. Now a big question arises. Why? Why did empires and humans build such complex machines to produce absolute suffering? Dark psychology tells us these punishments were never about carrying out justice. Their goal was only one thing: the absolute control of the masses' minds. When you run a massive empire, you cannot place a guard inside every single person's head. So, you must make fear take the place of that guard. The unwritten law of power states, if you want someone to not even dare think of betrayal, you must turn death into an unreachable wish for them. These tools were not physical. They were psychological weapons meant to paralyze the mind of society. Internalized fear is the strongest chain you can bind to the hands and feet of humans. Ancient kings knew that loyalty born of love might fade, but obedience born of absolute terror is never forgotten. So the next time you read about power, think about this. True power does not lie in destroying an enemy, but in completely breaking their spirit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.